You ready?
Ready?
All right.
So, you and I have been discussing the self-limiting beliefs that we have, that we compile throughout our childhood and early developmental years, where we end up taking that as a fact, and how that's very, very dangerous for success and limiting potential. And yesterday, for example, we had a guy come in and he was just so hesitant. He said he's been thinking about training for a couple of years, and you could tell there was this apprehension about him, and he had a lot of questions, and it was great because we were able to explain to him what we're all about, and now he was there for his first class today.
Yeah, and I think yesterday what really helped was that so many people, like the consistency of the culture, right, was able to just to be, because we had the benefit of everybody being there for 3 hours, right? Because it was the grand opening, and so normally we don't get that much time when we're trying to overcome somebody's limiting beliefs or their little voice syndrome, right? This doubter voice. So oftentimes we don't have that much time with them for them to really see in that scenario what the benefits of what jiu-jitsu would do for them.
And the culture was evidently genuine because of the number of people that lived the culture.
Exactly. So. Right. And then everybody he essentially was interviewing, right? He was interviewing everybody. He was like going around the room, making sure that there was no inconsistencies in what people were saying.
Right. It's too good to be true.
Yeah, exactly right. And so I agree. Now that was just one little component of we noticed in that guy, right? But we all have that, right?
Right.
We all have these self-limiting beliefs, these little voice syndrome, right? I'm part of this amazing mentorship program called the STC, the Success Team Coaching. And their first day is essentially a Tony Robbins talk, where Dwayne Spires is the guy, and Lauren Spires, and they talk a lot about that first day about our little voice syndrome. And I have this tattoo on my arm that I've had for quite a while, because even when we were fighting, a big part of that is as soon as you sign your name to the contract, like, here we go, right? There goes your sleep, there goes your, right? Here comes all the doubts in your mind. Here comes am I training enough? Am I ready for this? Do I deserve this? Right? All those kind of things. So my tattoo here says, I fight not simply with my opponent. I fight with my demons of doubt, with my exhaustion, with my past failures, with my injuries, with that unrelenting voice that tells me to stop. But I'm a fighter, and one thing is certain, I will be victorious, right? And so this reminds me, it's not the guy. The guy, it just changes faces all the time. Every match we've been in, every fight we've been in, the face changes. But this guy has a lot to say, right? Our monkey brain wants to say, oh no. And you had mentioned, for instance, that it starts out in our youth, in our childhood, and no, you can't do that, you can't do that, you can't, right? And so all these like little parameters are built around us. But I think it goes even further back into our DNA, right? Because we are programmed to worry about stuff. We're programmed to like, oh, look out for this saber cat, or right, whatever it is. You don't come out of the cave like, oh, look at this beautiful sunrise on the. No, we're like, oh, what's gonna kill me today? Right. And humans have evolved so rapidly now that we live in the future. We're dealing with computers and all this stuff, and this amazing, fantastic, we have cameras like recording us, things like that. But we still have this programming in our DNA that says, look out, something's coming to get us. We're not there yet. We don't deserve to live on top of the mountain, and right? I have this personal belief, like this is my battle, that if I were born in another time, I could be king, right? But now my life is even better than a king in the 14th century, right? I get a comfortable bed, a comfortable pillow, right? I get all this wonderful technology, makes my life easier. I can go to Michigan on a weekend from Colorado, right? Like, that's magic in the past, right? So humans were doing amazing, but we all individually have this doubt, this, oh, that's for somebody else, or somebody else could do it. Elon Musk could do it, but I can't do it, right? I'm not smart enough. I'm not good enough. I'm not worthy, whatever the thing, right? So I think this is our challenge. And the fact that we're in our 40s now and we're having this discussion and we've done amazing things in our career. We're both business owners. We've done all the things we've wanted to do. We have amazing families, amazing careers, right? We own businesses. We're highly successful in our chosen field. But we still have this doubts. We still have this, did I earn this? Did I deserve it? Did I, right? And then looking forward, right? Like there's that cloud that we're so afraid of. And just like you said about this guy coming in, this is true for so many people. Like we run the martial art businesses. That front door is the scariest thing for people.
I told him that yesterday.
You know, just walking in that front door the first time of a martial arts school, right? That's what we're talking about. Is super intimidating for a lot of people.
Absolutely. And
once they're in, they realize like, oh, it's euphoric, right? Like it's in a utopia, like beautiful place with wonderful people but that's the thing. Like I tell people all this all the time about, say, Masters Worlds is a good example at the IBJJF Worlds in Las Vegas. And I'm not a huge fan of Las Vegas, but I like being in that venue, right? Because they're all like dudes like us, right? Like tattooed, gnarly ears, beat up faces, but they're all the nicest people you've ever met, right?
A room full of killers.
Killers. But they're all so nice, opening the door like, yes, ma'am, no, sir. Wonderful people.
Right.
And those are the people I want to be around because they're willing to do hard things.
That's right.
You know? And walking through that front door is so hard, but it is so, just like anything in life, so rewarding.
It's life-changing.
Life-changing. That's exactly right. Life-changing. And I was telling somebody at your event yesterday that if you could not, and you know, whatever you charge, whatever people charge for their training lessons and stuff like that, it's priceless. It's such a good deal because no black belt in any martial art that I know of would ever trade the things that they've gained from martial arts for money in reverse.
No one. Yeah, and we're not talking about the technical stuff.
Exactly.
Intangibles.
Exactly.
The confidence, the leadership, the feeling that I could go wherever I need to be and I'll be okay.
Yeah, 100%. Anywhere. And not just physically, right, but like mentally, emotionally, right? You can go into a room of people you don't know and you don't feel, right, intimidated and I tell Krista this all the time, like my confidence has got me really far.
Right.
Right? And it's, maybe I don't deserve some of the things, but I have the confidence that I do.
Right.
And I'm really willing to do the work to go get it, right? And I hear that a lot. Like for me, I self-evaluate, like, okay, I want this huge, impossible, hard to obtain goal. Am I willing to put in the work to get there?
That's right.
Right? And then I just blinders on, there we go. Right? Now, this is a little bit off topic, but it's maybe something else we can discuss is when I do that, and this is where I'm coming to right now, is I'm always chasing, right? And instead of just being, and we talked about it this morning, like Wayne Dwyer says, we're human being, not human doing, right? And I find myself being a human doing all the time,
right,
you know, and I'm really trying to like get that stuff out of the way. Like I don't need anything else. I don't need to chase all this stuff. And it's fantastic and it keeps us going. And humans, we need a purpose, right? We need a goal, if you would, right? A purpose. Because say for instance, like, you know, competing at a high level or something, right? That it always gives me like, I'm in better shape. I have a goal to work towards, right? If I'm making choices, like, do I eat this garbage or do I eat something nice, right? Like weak food or strong food, right? And of course, I'm going to make better choices if I have something down the road that I'm trying to be prepared for.
Absolutely.
But in the moment, I'm working on being here now, right? And I think I told you, you know, we spent a week out in the mountains, and that this one phrase came up to me that just kept coming back to me, and it was because let me preface this a little bit, but Buddha, Nietzsche, these guys all talk about life is suffering, right? Like you just can't escape suffering, and I don't know that that's true, and this is my thing. Yes, we have to suffer to some degree, right? Because I feel like my childhood suffering has prepared me for my adulthood and so on, right? And these things that we think of as bad prepare us sometimes for what will eventually come through. And they kind of increase our threshold so we're ready for the next stage, right? Of progress. so this quote that I was saying that I kept coming back into my head was, I'm done suffering. I want to be here now, right? Be here now. And being here now instead of being in the future, because my brain tends to like move forward too fast, right? It's always in the next moment instead of just this one.
Right.
And so being here now, right? Instead of here,
Yeah.
you know? So this is helping me a lot. I have to find this balance of goals, chasing, and gratitude, right? This is always my balance, my chase, if you would.
Yeah.
And like we talked about yesterday, chasing is a poor use of words for this, because sometimes it's not the chase, it's just the being.
That's right.
that allows this to come in.
That's right.
You know?
Yeah, I struggle with the same thing, and not to sound like a simpleton, but I like to relate everything back to fighting because that's what I understand.
Mm-hmm.
And the unhealthy lifestyle I've been living, that go hustle, you know, running multiple businesses, law enforcement stuff, I equate that to rolling with a new like wrestler.
Good point.
That grind. Whereas I'm trying to be more like rolling with a high-ranking person in my life, where I'm finding times and spots to relax and rest and wait for an opportunity and then capitalize.
Yeah.
So if I keep trying to remind myself that roll like you're rolling at an upper level. Don't live like you're rolling with a collegiate wrestler that has very little jiu-jitsu background.
Right.
You understand what I mean?
It's the intensity.
The intensity is go, and we're constantly going in life, as opposed to just really jiu-jitsu in life. Efficiency.
Yeah.
And finding time to rest in the chaos.
And then you capitalize. And when that capitalization happens, you end up in a huge advantage, right?
There's a time and place for the grind, right? And there's a time and place for that monkey brain to tell us, watch out for the saber-toothed tiger. But it can't be our constant baseline.
Right.
That will just eat us up.
Burn. It's the fire, like, you know, they say candle at both ends. Yeah.
That's right.
For sure.
So I'm definitely trying to live my life like I'm rolling at a high level and not grinding against a white belt wrestler.
Mm-hmm. I love that analogy a lot. That's a really good one. I hope people can relate to that. So finding this, so it's a challenge for a lot of humans, right? And I think hopefully this is helpful to a lot of people, because, you know, you and I are black belts in multiple martial arts, right? And guys like us, people just assume we have it figured out. Like when we're kids, people assume, oh, adults have it figured out. Like, and now we're in the peer group of adults and we're like, do you know what's going on? I don't know what's going on. Like, I'm just trying to do my best to keep my family fed, and
that's right.
You know what I mean?
That's right.
Keep my brain on task, you know? So the challenge that I think us adults, especially men, if I may, go through is this: we hide our emotion, we hide our feeling, we don't talk about love, we don't talk about our struggles, we don't talk about our needs, our wants, right? Maybe we have a little bit of that with our spouse, right? But they probably know us closest, right? Like our real struggles.
Right.
But at the same time, so many people go through it, and so many people don't talk about it.
They don't. I don't know if it's out of embarrassment or out of
pride, or they think that I'm the only one that doesn't have it figured out, and everybody else must know.
That's what I mean. I don't want everybody to know that I don't have it together. Yeah. But in reality, if you're just honest about it, like, hey, dude, you're like, oh, me too. Oh, me too.
Exactly.
Me too. Well, let's figure this out together.
Yeah. And so if I could put this out there, finding a tribe or even a person or two, right? Sometimes it's just people pay good money for therapists, and by all means, right? They're trained for this sort of thing.
That's right.
But I think we should normalize being able to talk to our friends about the struggles that we have, right? Because they're going through it too. Don't pretend or assume that they're not, or that we're the only one. Right. We're not. Now, of course, we all have our own lives. We all have our own interpretations of struggles, right? Based on our childhood or our DNA programming or whatever it is. But we've all, you may have siblings that you grew up with, and you guys don't live identical lives, and you grew up the same.
That's right.
For the most part. You interpreted your surroundings differently.
That's right.
Right? And then, of course, like you said, those opportunities kind of presented themselves, and were you ready for them or not, right?
Yeah.
And so taking the moment to chase those opportunities down when they come, but at the same time, like understanding, like we're all struggling, we all have difficulties, we worry about a lot of the same stuff, you know, not just our human needs, if you would, right? Our baseline, I need food and water and shelter, and those are always there, right? But then kind of especially when you have a family, right? Like this is a male thing, for whatever reason, like somebody tells you, oh, I'm having a child, men go to, oh, can I afford this? Right? I'm having another, oh, like all of a sudden it's right? Yes, but when the child comes, there could be no more love in the world than for this being.
Right.
But we all have these struggles, and I hope that people can start normalizing communicating these struggles more often.
Yeah.
You know, that little voice syndrome, that little doubting Thomas in your brain.
It's a lot. I think that image that I have to portray myself as such and such, and if Tom knows that I'm struggling with this or whatever, he might think less of me, even though in reality Tom is dealing with the same exact thing, right? I think that ego, if we equate it to the man, do you know how much faster these guys learn when they get past that reliance on strength or ego, or they just let their guard down and just go to the technique and trust jiu-jitsu? I think there's an equivalent to that in life. If we're able to just let our ego go and seek the help and the guidance and progress and grow and learn, as opposed to having to maintain control by muscling my way through this match against somebody that's 20 pounds lighter than me, I'm not getting any better.
Yeah,
right.
I 100% agree, and that's a brilliant way to relate that, because I see jiu-jitsu in everything, obviously, right? Business and our own life, and we have to let our guard down and be true, right? The mats they say they don't lie, right? And it becomes this like, yes, you have to be vulnerable to get on the mat and walk through that front door, like we talked about. Walk through that front door, get on the mat, and be vulnerable.
Right.
You know, and open those scabs, those wounds, those things we've been trying to hide. Right. Jiu-jitsu forces you into that. But then when you start to see that in the rest of the world, you're like, oh, I try to protect against all these other things too.
Right.
You know, and so if I could just be exposed and be raw. And what do we do in the mats? On the mats, we ask the upper belts or the people that are more experienced than us, we're like, how did you do this? How did I get there? How did this happen? Right? And they're going to share it with us. And I see that in business. If you just are willing to let your ego go and ask somebody who's been down that path, they're going to help you.
That's right.
Right? There's people that have been down the path. There's black belts in business. There's black belts in life. There's black belts in, whether it's Buddha, Jesus, they figured it out.
Right.
You know what I mean? And so learning from them, following. Now, of course, we have our own life. We have our own interpretations. We're like, yeah, I'll take this. I'll put that away.
Sure.
You know what I mean? And just like in jiu-jitsu, we're like, well, this will work good for me, but that, not so much. You know what I mean?
Right.
But instead of hacking our way through,
reinventing the wheel,
just trying to like grind again, just follow the path that's there.
Yep.
Somebody's there. Just be willing to let your ego go and ask.
That's right.
And again, I keep harping on guys because we tend to be this way, this whole like shell of, oh no, I got this.
Oh no, that's why I prefer teaching women, because they don't have that type of
Much
ego or
ego.
relying on strength, and they go right to the technique and they pick up super fast.
And they're willing to learn and listen, right? And a lot of times, once the guys get over their own ego to some degree, they 100% do it, right? We do the same. But getting past that threshold, and we tend to climb back behind the fort, right?
Right. When the technique stuff doesn't go so well, we revert to our old age.
Yeah, we're like, oh, I'm a man, muscle, push, right? Yeah, I completely agree with that.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's a good one.